I'm Nate Rosenstock, one of the co-founders and CEO of Crafty. When we started our business 10 years ago, we heard one thing time and time again from workplace leaders about our industry. There was a gap, which was the absence of bespoke technology built for workplace leaders and for the workplace. Without technology, workplace leaders were faced with a lack of visibility into their spend, finding out after the fact that they were over budget, the inability to control their program and make changes on the fly, and an absence of clear communication with their vendors. We decided to build a Crafty platform bespoke for our clients that could solve these issues. With the Crafty platform, you get visibility into all of your spend, controls around your budget, the ability to make product substitutions with a click, and absolute flexibility in how your program evolves over time. Come take a look. For nearly a decade, we've been building technology from the ground up, not just to keep up with all the change that happens in our world and in our industry, but actually to lead that change and to build things that are new to the industry and new to our clients. When we started Crafty and talking with workplace teams, we heard one theme consistently, time and time again, as a gap in our industry, and that was technology. So we set out with this really unique approach for a corporate food service business, which was that we were going to build technology ourselves, bespoke to our clients' needs, instead of relying on third-party tools that we would try to cobble together and take off the shelf that somebody else built for maybe a slightly different purpose and try to make it work. And it's because of those conversations early on with clients that we embarked on this unique strategy. And it's also because of the client conversations that we get to have with you all the time that guides a lot of the decisions we make, not just to be a technology-enabled provider, but also the specific choices within what we choose to build and how those things work. And today marks a unique chapter for us because we get to share some of that progress with you all. This showcase is a way for us to kind of lift the curtain and spotlight some new features and functionalities that help us craft a better workplace. Today, you're going to hear from some of the folks who are actually behind the work that's happening. And Jimmy and Allison are going to be taking us through today's showcase. And they're going to be leading us on a couple demos. So we're going to be demoing collaborative ordering, and we're going to be demoing product swapping. And best of all, we'll also get to hear from one of our clients, Chino Chasacara. Without further ado, I'm going to pass it to Allison.
Thanks, Nate. Hi, everyone. I'm Allison Kuka. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the VP of Product here at Crafty. And in my 3 years here, I don't think I've ever been more excited about the awesome things that this team of engineers and product designers and product managers are creating. And that's really because as product people, we try to ground our roadmap in solving client problems. And there's one problem that comes up again and again in every client conversation that we have. And that is that the office is incredibly unpredictable. You know, food and beverage programs would be pretty easy to manage if you knew exactly how many people were coming in on a given day and exactly what they'd want to consume and exactly their likes and dislikes. But that really is just far from reality. Instead, you're hearing about last-minute executive requests and unexpected on-site events, happy hours that are planned, holiday weekends bleeding into the week, what have you. And as your headcount is fluctuating, so does what you need to order. So here at Crafty, we believe that you should have the final say in what's coming on your order. And that's what I'll be demoing today. Let's say that you received a Slack today letting you know about an unexpected on-site event for later this week with the CFO. In the past, how you'd have to manage that unexpected on-site event would be trading a lot of emails back and forth, asking for changes to the order. But today, you can edit that order with collaborative ordering in the platform with just a few clicks, no emails or support tickets required. So in your platform, you'll see this orders tab here. It has all of your orders that are being delivered today and upcoming orders. And I'm going to open this editable one. And the first thing I'll do is change some quantities to just accommodate that additional headcount that I'm expecting for that on-site event. So this group will probably want some fresh fruit in there to give them energized for the long meeting. And let's just up some classics like Coke and Diet Coke. You never want to run out of those. Along the way, as I'm upping these quantities, I'm making sure that I'm on budget because I'm referencing this number here that is calculated dynamically based on my budget for the month. So now we have those additional quantities added. You can also use collaborative ordering to add additional items to the order. So let's go ahead and add more products here. This section up here is all powered by AI, and it's suggesting items that we think that you might like based on your office's taste profile, as well as based on what's popular in your market. And in this case, AI did a pretty good job because it's recommending to me some things that I think this group would love for their event. Obviously, Red Bull comes to mind. If it's an afternoon meeting, they'll need to be energized for it. And then down here are some buy again items. These are items that I've previously purchased in the past, but that aren't on this additional order. So it's a great way to just double check that you are getting kind of the classic that you need. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and add some Nabisco Classic Mix because that seems kind of nostalgic, and maybe some cookies will delight them during that meeting. Okay, speaking of cookies, I got a hot tip that the CFO at this meeting is obsessed with Tate's chocolate chip cookies. I don't know if any of you have had them, but they're quite delicious. And what's cool about this feature is even if something isn't in your pantry, if it's available in our broader marketplace, you can add it to the order. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in Tate's. I see them here, add them in, and I'll look like a rock star putting them on the conference room table for the CFO in their meeting. Right, so hopefully you see that this is pretty easy to do. But don't take my word for it. The next section of this showcase is actually a fireside chat with one of our clients that Nate mentioned. So Chino Chasakara, he's joining now the showcase. And he is one of the first people that use collaborative ordering. What we like to do is kind of reach out to our clients on a frequent basis to beta test upcoming features, help us work out the kinks, and really just make sure that we're making something that really works for you. So Chino, welcome to our first showcase.
Hey, Allison, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor.
Amazing. So again, you were one of the first to try out collaborative ordering as a beta tester. But before we get into all that, tell us about like yourself and your journey at Ironclad.
Yeah, so as you guys can see on this page, on the intro page, I'm originally from South Africa, and my favorite snack is biltong. So I joined Ironclad in October of 2021, originally on the recruiting operations team. So I was scheduling interviews for folks. And then I made the shift to Workplace in April of 2023. And one of our first big projects was moving offices here in San Francisco, moving our HQ. And my manager, who I love to death, said, this is a good opportunity for us to grow up, because our snack program was basically somebody on the Workplace team putting it in order, and it arrives with Instacart, and we like put it on the shelves, and we have to do all the managing of it. So we reached out to a partner that we had here in the building that we were moving into. I asked them, how do you guys do snacks? And they said, we use Crafty. So we're like, all right, let's have a conversation. And that's how we eventually got intro with you guys. Yeah.
Tell us about the pantry program at Ironclad. What are the vibes like there?
The vibe is a very important word for me. One of my unofficial titles is Chief Vibes Officer in Workplace. So I like to make sure that the vibes are absolutely elite. One thing that I will say is that regardless of where I'm at, what position I'm at in the company when it comes to vibes, making sure that there's coffee and sparkling water are an absolute necessity. If you have those two things, the people won't riot. This is tech after all. But here at Ironclad, we have 2 working floors, and we want to make sure that we can provide a safe space for everybody that, comes through here. And this includes in snacks as well. Some people are like really allergic to peanuts and nuts in general. So we worked with the team to try and craft, yeah, pun intended, try and craft the workplace that can allow folks to be able to feel safe when they get their snacks up here, which meant separating the kind of snacks that we have. One floor is mainly with the nuts, like your kind bars, your peanut butter, pretzels, and your chocolate covered peanuts. And the other one is nut free. So it's basically like a lot of candy and like, the vanilla protein bars. And it's seemed to work out really, really well. But we wouldn't have gotten there without the fantastic partnership of the team. So shout out to Alejandra and Natalie and the rest of the support team. You guys are awesome.
Great. That is so good to hear. So before we had you as a beta tester for collaborative ordering, I know you were sending in a lot of order edits. What were kind of the typical things that you were asking to edit, and like in what instances were you editing these orders?
I mean, every instance. I felt like at a certain point that the folks were just going to get tired of seeing an email from me because I was always going to be asking for something to be changed. But a big part of my job is remaining observant and trying to make sure that I'm sort of getting ahead of a problem before it actually becomes a problem. So a lot of the times I would be editing quantities of the amounts of orders that were coming in, because a lot of the times, since we have the Delivery Plus option, folks are not going to be able to see what's currently on the ground. So the folks at Crafty are not going to be able to see what's on the ground. So I am their eyes and ears as well, and I'm seeing how things are moving. I let them know that we're going to need some more LaCroix. We're going to need some more Lay's chips. We're going to need some more Doritos, all of those fun things. The collaboration that you guys had with imparting the feedback that I was giving was invaluable. It made me actually feel like I was heard. It made me feel appreciated, which I think is an absolutely vital quality for any company, is like making sure that the customers are actually heard. So working with you, working with the product team, seeing the things that I was suggesting actually showing up into the product, into that feature was very, very cool. And it kind of made me feel a little bit like, like a proper tester, like I could really get my hands on things and, make an impact.
That is so great. Well, it was an honor for us too. And we loved the honesty. We need it in order to improve these features and make them fit what you need. Wonderful. One last question for you, Chino, which is just, do you have a story of where collaborative ordering in particular came in handy?
A couple of weeks ago, we had an event, like a multi-day event that happened here at our San Francisco office. And we were lowballed with the amount of attendees that were going to be coming. With that lowballing from the first day, I drastically needed to make changes with regards to the amount of snacks that were getting ordered, that were getting put onto the next order. So I was able to just go into the platform, put in some of those edits, and I felt secure that the edits were going to be like showing up in the next order.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thanks for being a beta tester, of course, and for being here on our first showcase. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks, guys.
All right, with that, we are going to transition to showing you the marquee feature of the showcase. So I'll hand it over to Jimmy Paul.
My name is Jimmy Paul. I'm one of the co-founders and the CTO here at Crafty. I've now been working on the Crafty platform for over 10 years, and I've always taken a lot of pride in our ability at Crafty to be tech forward in an industry that historically hasn't prioritized technology. But our goal isn't technology for just technology's sake. We're aiming to truly reset and elevate the expectations and standards of this industry. You all are making a big investment in offering snacks to your employees. Food and beverage is an essential part of a holistic workplace experience, but it's not just about the snacks. It's about bringing your team together and fostering meaningful relationships. So with that being said, keeping a fresh pantry can be really challenging. It's time consuming. There's a lot of back and forth with vendors, with your team here. In general, as an industry, it's really inflexible. This industry standard is quarterly swaps. It can be really unclear what the unit per unit cost is during a switch, how this might affect your budget. And it also can be overwhelming to find the right products, to know what the right swaps are. So with that being said, I'm really excited to show you how we're going about tackling these problems and to announce our newest tool, product swapping. So what you're seeing on my screen here is my Pantry page is really just a much cleaner and elegant version of our old My Products page. So up top, we can decide which office we want to check out. So let's go to our Denver location and we can see our full product set. Up top, you're also able to filter by subcategory. So I'm going to jump into our water and sparkling section. And within here, I can see in Denver, we've got all the LaCroix, we've got coconut water. I am not going to swap a thing, and getting rid of any type of LaCroix could lead to an outrage. But there are plenty of reasons to swap a product. So for one, maybe the product just stinks and nobody wants it. Or another option could be maybe it's really expensive and everybody wants it. It's breaking the budget. Or maybe it's simply time for something that sparks those conversations, that joy, those moments of bringing people together. So within Denver, we'll jump into the bars. And in this bars section, I think this Kind bar, it's served us well, but it kind of feels wintry. I'm ready for something that's maybe a little brighter. So I'm able within my pantry to click swap product here. When I click that, as Allison mentioned, we do have AI now that's going to generate our taste profile if we don't have one, look at the products in our set, and make recommendations based on some of the top products around. So for this Kind bar, some of the options that I'm being served are RX bar, chocolate sea salt, crunchy peanut butter Cliff bar. But we know that not everybody has the same goals with their programming. So we've designed something called nudges, where within this top products, you can actually tell it, the AI, kind of how you want to influence it or nudge it. I'm actually going to go down another route. So let's say that I know that folks really like RX bars. So under this search right here, I can type in RX. And now I'm going to see every RX bar that's available to me within this market. So I'm checking this out. I can see right here that it's $2.34 per unit on the Kind bar. The RX bar is $2.86 per unit. And you know what? In this instance, I'm actually going to say, let's keep the pricing similar. So what other Kind bars are being offered? And I've now pulled up Kind bar. I can see, I've actually never had these whole fruit Kind bars, but it looks like it's really hitting that bright summery feel that I was going for. So I'm actually going to come and select this whole fruit bar, the pineapple banana. So this is where it's all about that transparency. So I can see here that with this new Kind bar, the stock level, if I leave it at 1, I will still be getting these 12 units, and I'll actually be saving 60 cents. But maybe I actually know that we're going to be flying through these. People are ready for this new bar, and we actually want to have more bars on stock. I can actually up this. It'll now show me, like, when we do a full order of these, it will be an additional $26.88, but we will be getting an additional 12 units. I mentioned it early on in the presentation, but communicating about swaps takes a lot of time. What happens when you click the swap button here is we're actually going to notify the Crafty merchandising team, your client success manager, and any fulfillment partners that need to be notified about the swap. Rest assured, we are on top of it. No support tickets are needed, and no emails are required. And as I click swap here, you'll see that it says product successfully swapped. But as I go back into these bars, I can see what's been swapped in and what's been swapped out. We're really pushing this industry with what the expectations are, what the standards are. I really just wanted to reemphasize, again, these problems that we are looking to solve. So this should be fast. No more communicating back and forth. We want this to be flexible. This tool is available anytime. You don't have to just swap quarterly. If you've got an idea, if there's a product you need to get out, go make that request through our platform. Transparency, again, we want to show you those unit prices, how this can affect your budget, give you an idea of what kind of swap you're making. And finally, this should just be effortless and fun. We're talking about new products, trying new things, and again, bringing that sense of community to your office.
Thanks for watching. What you saw is just the beginning. Crafty is built for workplace teams so that you can build a smarter pantry program. If you're interested in staying ahead of what's happening in our space, follow along.